Let's talk about the massive weather changes heading our way this weekend. We're gearing up for a major shift that's going to bring brutally cold conditions to a large part of the United States. It's not just your typical winter chill. This could shape up to be one of the coldest Januaries we've seen in decades. On top of that, there's a strong chance of at least one winter storm, possibly more in the coming week. In today's video, I'm breaking it all down for you. What's happening now, what's coming next, and how it could affect your area. Let's get started. First off, here's what's happening across the country right now. For most of the lower 48, it's a calm and sunny start to the day. A few exceptions. The Midwest has some cloud cover moving in. The Northeast is seeing scattered snow showers, and Texas is dealing with a small area of moisture streaming in from the Pacific, which will bring rain and thunderstorms to the Gulf Coast in the coming days. But before we get into the details, hit the subscribe button, like this video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. Over on the West Coast, though, the story is quite different. Southern California, particularly around Los Angeles, is battling multiple wildfires. High winds and very low humidity are creating ideal conditions for fires to spread rapidly. This elevated fire risk is expected to persist for the next 48 hours before calmer winds arrive later this week. By Thursday or Friday, conditions should improve slightly, but with the fires currently active, it's a critical situation to monitor. For the rest of the country, it's quiet for now, but not for long. Over the next couple of weeks, we're expecting a dramatic shift in the weather pattern thanks to a surge of Arctic air heading south from Canada. This will set the stage for one of the coldest air masses we've experienced in years, affecting much of the U.S. Let's break it down step by step. Right now, the jet stream is relatively calm east of the Rockies, which is keeping things steady. But this weekend, we'll see a sharp dip in the jet stream over the Pacific Northwest and Northern Plains. This change will allow a flood of frigid Arctic air to sweep across the country. Starting Saturday, temperatures will drop significantly, with the coldest air settling in by Sunday and continuing into early next week. This Arctic blast is going to be intense. Early next week, we're looking at sub-zero temperatures in the northern plains with wind chills as low as E40 def in some areas. Freezing temperatures could reach as far south as Texas and Florida, and even the Gulf Coast might see unusually cold weather. There's also a chance for a winter storm in the Gulf Coast or East Coast region, but details are still up in the air. Here's what the timeline looks like next few days. A smaller cold front will bring scattered snow showers to parts of the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and Northeast. By the weekend, the Arctic air arrives with temperatures plunging across the plains, Midwest, and Deep South. At its peak, early next week, sub-zero temperatures will dominate the northern plains, with Monday and Tuesday likely being the coldest days. Wind chills in some areas could make it feel even colder, potentially dangerous for frostbite. On the West Coast, things will stay warmer and drier, continuing the risk for wildfires. The good news is that this Arctic outbreak won't last long. By midweek, temperatures will start to recover, returning to near or slightly below average for most of the country. It's not a repeat of the February 2021 deep freeze. This one is sharp but short. Let's also talk winter storms. We're tracking one expected to develop on Friday, bringing snow from the Deep South to the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes. There's a possibility of severe weather, including thunderstorms in parts of Mississippi and Alabama, into early next week. Another system could develop near the Gulf Coast or East Coast. While details are uncertain, conditions will likely be cold enough for winter precipitation, possibly even snow. To wrap things up, here's what you need to know. This week starts calm for most, but a powerful Arctic blast will bring extreme cold this weekend into early next week. Alongside this, at least one winter storm is likely, with potential impacts from snow, ice, or severe weather. After the coldest stretch, things will start to warm back up by midweek. We're looking at wind gusts between 50 to 70 miles per hour, combined with extremely low humidity levels, around 10 day. It's a recipe for rapid wildfire spread. From Ventura Valley to the San Bernardino Mountains, the danger is real, and it's not just today. Fire conditions remain critical through Wednesday, possibly even into Thursday. On the bright side, some of the fires from last week are under better control, but any new spark could lead to major issues. If you live in these areas or know someone who does, make sure evacuation plans are ready. A PETUS red flag warning is in effect, which is as serious as it gets. Now let's shift to what's coming for the rest of the country. While the fire danger is localized, a massive troughing pattern is about to take over the U.S., bringing some of the coldest air we've seen in years. Here's the setup. There's a brief warm-up coming later this week for parts of the central U.S. and the Pacific Northwest, with some places seeing temperatures 20 to 30 degrees above normal, but don't get too comfortable. They'll last. Around January 19th or 20th, Arctic air is set to plunge southward, putting most of the country in below average temperatures. And this cold isn't just a quick hit. It's going to stick around. The southeast will feel it the most, with the chill lasting through the 24th and possibly into the 29th. The only places escaping this deep freeze: Maine, southern Florida, Alaska, and Hawaii. Everyone else, brace yourselves. Now, before you start panicking, this isn't a doomsday scenario. It's going to be cold, yes, but nothing we can't handle with a little preparation. Some areas, like Texas, might see minor power issues, but we're not expecting anything like the big blackouts of the past. Of course, with a setup like this, snowstorms are inevitable. The Climate Prediction Center already highlights a good chance of heavy snow from January 18th to the 24th across much of the central and eastern U.S. But let me give you a heads up. Social media is going to explode with wild snowstorm predictions. Historic, blizzard, or repeat of 1993. Most of those are based on speculative models and aren't reliable until we're a few days out. So don't get caught up in the hype. That said, I do believe we'll see a significant storm this month. Some areas that usually get snow, like parts of the Midwest, haven't seen much yet, while places like Oklahoma and Arkansas have had more than their share. This current pattern might not change that imbalance, but February and March could shift things around. When we look at precipitation patterns, there's a chance of storms tracking up the East Coast with the possibility of above average precipitation during this period. The Climate Prediction Center shows cold air should be in place, which could allow for the formation of a coastal storm. Though the likelihood of this is not extremely high, there's still a 33 to 40 chance of above average precipitation, which is typical in the 7 to 10 day outlook. The West is expected to remain dry for now, and this dry trend will likely continue. The 8 to 14 day forecast shows that the East will stay cold, but if the cold air extends too far east, it might reduce snow chances along the coast. From January 21st to 27th, we may see clipper systems bringing light to moderate snow to the Midwest, Great Lakes, and Northeast, although coastal storms with heavy snow might be less likely during this period. In the past 2 weeks, the central U.S., Ohio Valley, and Mid-Atlantic have experienced especially cold temperatures, while the Great Lakes and Northeast have been closer to average. The Southeast has also seen cooler temperatures, but not as extreme as in the northern region. The West has been experiencing warmer than usual weather, contributing to a positive Pacific North American pattern, which is helping bring cold air into the eastern part of the country. The European model still shows the possibility of a southeast snowstorm between January 20th and 22nd. Though there is some disagreement among the models, the possibility of this storm is still on the table. Both the GFFs and European models predict cold air and snow, although the specifics vary. Some models show snow showers in Virginia, and snow might spread into the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley by midweek. Snow showers could also occur in the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley by Thursday, January 16th, but no major storm is expected yet. By Friday, January 17th, temperatures will temporarily warm up as cold air shifts from the west to the east, bringing snow to northern Rockies and northern plains. A key driver of the current cold weather is a low-pressure system located between Hudson Bay and the Great Lakes. This system has been responsible for many of the cold weather pushes this season and will continue to play an important role. As it moves east, it will bring heavy snow to the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast. Thunderstorms are expected in the southeast, while the Gulf states will experience showers. As the system continues to move eastward, it could potentially form a coastal low, bringing snow to these areas as the cold air arrives. By Sunday, January 19th, the storm is expected to move up the coast, bringing snow and cold temperatures with it. This could be the first significant snowstorm for the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, with the cold air interacting with the storm. By Monday, January 20th and Tuesday, January 21st, the storm is likely to intensify, bringing a mix of snow, ice, and rain to the southeast and heavy snow to parts of North Carolina, Virginia, and southern New England. The setup is tricky, and there are still many variables to consider, but the storm is showing clear signals. We'll continue to monitor the situation closely. Although we're seeing storm signals now, it's important to keep in mind that this doesn't guarantee a storm will happen. There have been similar situations before where storms have fizzled out, but the potential is definitely there. The patterns are aligning, and in a few days, we'll have a better idea of what to expect. Whether it's a major snowstorm or just light snow, we'll continue tracking the situation. Stay tuned for more updates as we get closer to the event. The forecast is likely to change, but the signs are pointing towards something significant. As we move into next week, we'll have a clearer picture of where the storm will track.